Good afternoon and welcome to this webinar on weight management and diet types. If you are watching this and it looks a little different, if you maybe saw it before, I would like to apologize that this is a re-recording. Technology is not always my friend, and unfortunately I did something incorrectly when I recorded it the first time. So we're going for phase 2. That all said, good afternoon. And let me go ahead and share my screen so we can go ahead and get started and jump right in. And I'd like to apologize. At this very second, I do have a cough drop in my mouth, and I do apologize for that because my throat's a little dry. So anyways, that said, also to let you know that if you see me kind of looking over to the side a little bit, it's because I've got some notes on the other screen that I'm just making sure that I don't forget any information, especially because there is a lot of information. So let me go ahead and start the slideshow. There we go. Okay, so this was originally done on November 10th from 4 to 5 Central Time. So like I said, if you're rewatching it, I thank you very much for watching. Okay, we have a very short agenda in a way, but we have a lot of information. So there's going to be a super brief introduction, and then we're going to have some general conversation on ideal and managing weight, and then talk about all those many diets that are there, and to see if I can assist you in making a choice on what might work for you the best. Okay, so really quick, my name is Laura Kibby. I am a registered nurse, and I've been a registered nurse or a nurse for over 35 years now, so for a little while. Most of my clinical background comes from working medical. I've also worked orthopedics, inpatient rehab, pediatric home health. Hospice is one of my strong passions. I've also done managed care, and currently here at Parkland, I am what is actually called the Clinical Quality Program Manager, which just means I deal with a lot of different things with quality, but one of my passions is teaching. So I also get the distinct pleasure of reaching out to members via webinar with hopefully some helpful information. And again, this particular webinar is on weight management. Excuse me. Oh, I'm also from the north, and so hopefully that you won't hold that against me. Okay, let's talk about some concerns about being overweight or obese. Okay, everybody knows this information or has at least a little baseline understanding of it. Okay, so being overweight, we have illnesses and conditions that are affected by it. We can have elevated blood pressure. We can get an elevated blood sugar, which can lead to type 2 diabetes. We can have coronary artery disease, stroke, gallbladder disease. It affects our bones and joints and can lead to or contribute to osteoarthritis. We can get sleep apnea and other breathing problems. And sleep apnea is like when you try to go to sleep at night, you don't have a restful sleep because you're kind of gasping for air sometimes. And that's when people will end up with things like what's called a CPAP machine. I know there's been conversations here and there on those, which basically helps you so you can keep breathing when you sleep. You have a lower quality of life. You can suffer some mental illnesses because of feeling negative about yourself. So you can have some depression, anxiety, or other disorders. And then we can also have some extra body aches and pains or decrease in function. Now, of course, some of these conditions and illnesses on this list can also be hereditary. Okay, families tend to have, like, if they have heart disease, family members may have had a heart attack or a stroke or they have high blood pressure. So some of that can be kind of genetic. People have diabetes in their family. Okay. Gallbladder disease. The old saying used to be female fat 40 in family are prone to getting gallbladder disease. Okay. So we do understand that some of these things can run in a family. However, we can take action to break that cycle. Okay. So let's just talk a little bit about like what is ideal weights and how do we manage weights and things like that. Okay, so I'm sure a lot of people have heard of BMI, which the actual thing is body mass index, which is the measurement of fat using our height and our weight. Now, when you do the measurement, you can do it in pounds or kilograms, and you can do the height in inches or centimeters or meters. But make sure when you're doing it, you don't accidentally try to mix like meters and pounds or kilograms and feet, because you've got to have the same system in order to get an accurate reading for your body mass index. Okay. And then what it does is after you get these wonderful numbers, it puts you in the categories that you see in front of you, where you can be below ideal weight if it's 18.5 or below. If it's 18.5 to 24.9, you're considered in the standard normal range or good range. If it's over 25 but not quite 30, you're overweight. And then if your BMI measures 30 or higher, you're considered obese. And you'll be surprised that it really doesn't take much to get to that obese rate. So you can calculate this all out manually. You take your weight in either pounds or kilograms, and then you divide it by your height, which has been squared, and multiply it by 703. Or there's BMI calculators where you just go to it and you plug the numbers in and it does it all for you. Usually that's the way I do it. It's way easier. And then all you have to do is put in BMI calculator in Google or whatever source you use. It'll pop it up. You plug your numbers in and it'll let you know. Now here's just a little illustration of what BMI looks like. Okay, to give you an idea. And I did a male and a female version. And as you can see, I mean, if you got one of those in the blue, oddly enough, they both use the same colors because I think it was the same people that made it. Anyways, so if you are underweight, kind of thin, these are some of the people we get concerned about that are on the low weight category, are not healthy. These could be someone with an eating disorder or just sick and hadn't figured it out yet and things. So we do get very concerned about people that are underweight as well as those that are overweight. Okay. So then the green is normal, average, where all of us would ideally like to be. Okay. And then orange is the overweight, and then red, of course, is the obese. And if you look with females, it tends to show that, we tend to get it like all in our abdomen and our trunk and stuff. Men, they just look a little bit differently, just proportionate with it. So, and then there are also weight charts to give us an idea of what our ideal weight is based on our height. I'm going to show you a couple of charts. I'm not going to go into too many, but just to give you an idea of the type of charts that are out there. Now, if you look at the chart on the left, which has the yellow, the pink, and the blue, this one is kind of like really narrow and strict. I'm going to be honest, it's not my personal favorite kind of chart, but I wanted to show it to you because people like different things. Okay. The reason why it says kind of strict or kind of narrow is because it shows, say, the body frame. And if you look, it's got small, medium, and large for both male and female. But then it's got like just a weight. So like if you're 5'3" and you're a medium frame, you should weigh 115 pounds. Now the chart on the right, I like it a little bit better. And if you look, hopefully you'll understand why, is it gives us weight ranges. Okay, so that it's not like just a weight. So if you're 5'3", which unfortunately I am not 5'3", but I'm using that as an example, and you're a medium frame, instead of on the the one on the left-hand side said you should weigh 115 pounds. This says that it's 121 to 135 pounds. Okay. So it gives you a range. And it's not quite so strict, and it's a little bit, I think, more realistic. Personal opinion, there's a million, slight exaggeration. There's a million, though, charts out there that you can look at to use for reference points and things like that. Okay. So, available diets. How do we choose when we have all these millions of available diets? And I'll be honest with you, I found some that I actually had forgotten about when I was doing research. And then I also found some that I hadn't even really heard of. Okay. So we've got Dr. Grundy and Dr. Kellyanne, and this is actually Jenny Craig. This is Jenny Craig. We have the Go Low, the Nutrisystem, and Weight Watchers. Those are just some that are like kind of known, but exactly what do each of these entail? Now, I will say as a little disclaimer beforehand, I have tried some of these diets, so I can give you a little insight. I've got friends that have tried some of these diets. What is good for one person is not necessarily good for another person. We are all individuals. We know our own wants, needs, desires, what we can afford and what we cannot afford, because quite honestly, some of these can get quite expensive. Okay. So that is not my job to say this one's better than that one, or that one's better than this one, or this one's totally horrible. You know, what works or did work or does not work for me definitely may not be the same as for you. Okay. So I'm going to try to give as much information as possible. And then if you have questions, I'll have contact information at the end that you can definitely reach out to me about. So let's start with two that are fairly common, fairly well known, the Jenny Craig and the Nutrisystem. And I've kind of got some of them side by side, though they're not 100% perfect side by side. These two go pretty good together, though. So some of the information, the stuff that is in black is, daily, and the green is weekly. So Jenny Craig, costs vary. There's a minimum plan that says it's $145.49 per week. They've got varying meal plans. So with Jenny Craig, you get your meals, sort of. Okay. So you use their food and they deliver it. But like I said, it's just kind of a sort of. And the reason why I say sort of is because it depends on what kind of meal plan and things that you do. So for Jenny Craig, you use their food. They do have an auto delivery cost for max. So there's, of course, there may be tax and there's shipping and things like that added. So these are just the basic prices. So for the simple plan, it's like $13.99 a day. And that ends up being about $97.93 a week. Okay. But with that, you only get 2 meals a day. You get your breakfast and your lunch. So then you would be responsible to make sure you had food in your home for your dinner. And then any snacks or anything like that you might want per day and per week. Okay, now the essential and the max up, they both come with 7 days of food. The essential comes with, comes with the 3 meals. And then the max up comes with 3 meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It also comes with some snacks and a recharge, and it has a personal coach and things like that. So it's got a little bit more. And of course, people do lose weight. Examples are Kirstie Alley, Valerie Bertinelli, Jennifer Hudson, and Sarah Root. Okay, those are all people that have, at least at one point or another, based on research that I found, were able to lose weight with Jenny Craig. Then we've got Nutrisystem, which is very similar because it has food. They do have a money back guarantee, but what it is you have to sign up for 4 weeks and try it for 7 days and return food if you don't use it. and their weeks, and if you'll notice it is a little less expensive. It's the basic plan is about $9.99 a day for about $49.95 a week, but it's only 5 days. It's not the full 7 days. So it's only 5 days a week. And as you can see, and you get a little bit more, of course, with each interval and things like that you do, including some free delivery, and there's a weight loss coach. And they've got some spokespeople. So it's just Julie Chrisley, Duranda Melody, who is from Real Housewives of New York City. And then, of course, most recently, and for quite some time, actually, I can't remember exactly when she started, but Marie Osmond has been a spokesperson for Nutrisystem for quite a little while now. And they do say, you eat 6 times per day, you can get 1 to 2 pounds of weight loss per week as an average, which is actually good. One of the things you want to be careful of is you really don't want to drop too much weight too fast. And the reason why I say that is as soon as you change your diet, whatever you're doing. So as soon as if you stop Jenny Craig or you stop Nutrisystem and you go back to eating, unless you're able to maintain how they were giving you the food, you're going to gain weight back. Okay. And that's kind of like, I'd say, the negative with a lot of diet plans. Okay. Now, the thing that's good, like by Jenny Craig and Nutrisystem, they give you food so you can learn how to cook and eat like that. Moving on. Weight Watchers and Go Low. So Weight Watchers, they've been around for like a million years. Okay, not really a million, but they've been around for quite some time now. Very popular. I'll be honest, I did use Weight Watchers. I did actually lose weight. I think part of it with Weight Watchers is you do have meetings, so you got support and things with Weight Watchers. The cost is usually a little bit better, $30 a month, and that's because you use your own food. And they teach you how to eat correctly by using a point system. So you do kind of a little calorie count, or back in the day, you used to have to do like a kind of a more calorie count. Now they give food points. So it makes it a little easier, and you do X number of points for this and that and another thing. And they focus on 4 pillars: food, exercise, behavior, and support. Food, of course, eat healthy, things like that. Exercise, of course, we all know that we kind of need to exercise a little bit to maintain good health, not just our weight, but overall physical well-being. Behavior, they emphasize and work on, and the other ones will too, because they train you with the way that they send you the food, like for Jenny Craig and Nutrisystem. And so you kind of have to learn a new behavior on how to eat. And then, of course, they all actually, from what I can see and what I was able to tell, do have some support systems. And Weight Watchers, as you know, does like the weigh-ins and things like that. They do it privately. Someone loses, then of course there's cheers. If someone gains, then it's just like, you're going to do better next week. I will say again, one of the positives to Weight Watchers is you're always using your own food. So you don't have to worry about deliveries or anything like that. I'd say that's about one of the biggest pluses, because I know a friend that has used Nutrisystem and had some problems with the shipping and getting the food on time and making sure they were there, and things like that. Okay, Go Low, which I'll be honest, I didn't know much about until I did a little bit of research on it. Oh, and with Weight Watchers, I didn't mention, but really, really quick, there's been numerous spokespersons for Weight Watchers over the years, including Saria. I'm sorry, I'm saying her name wrong. James Corden, Tina Fey, Jenny McCarthy, Kevin Smith, who's an actor producer, Oprah. Let's see, Charles Berkeley, Sarah Ferguson, and then, of course, their very first spokesperson for Weight Watchers was Lynn Redgrave back in 1983. So almost 40 years ago. Okay, so then back to Go Low. So they have a statement on their website that says, "Why is it hard to lose weight? The truth is insulin resistance is the root problem, but the diet industry doesn't want to talk about it." So they do look at metabolism, basically. Because if your insulin's not working the right way and your body's not working the right way, you're going to store fat versus burn off fat that you have. Okay, and this is kind of the basic fundamental to it, because trying to read some of it, it was kind of confusing me, to be honest. But anyways, so you want to get rid of stored fat, and that's what their direction is. So they have supplements, and you can get 1 to 2 months supply for about $60, or you can get 3 bottles, which will last you 90 to 150 days for about $120. They have Release, which is a capsule that you take 3 times a day, and it works with a diet plan. Now, some of the people that have used this is a Canadian actress named Amy Lalonde. I'm saying that incorrectly. And then Jeff Mark, who is the FBI most wanted spokesperson. So next, whoops, a daisy. There we go. Okay, Stephen R. Grundy, MD, and Kelly Ann Patrici, MSND. So let's just talk a little bit about these two people. Dr. Grundy is a true blue, full-fledged MD. He he is a cardiothoracic surgeon, heart surgeon, and has done medical research. He's got a 40-year career as a surgeon, so he is a true blue medical doctor, performing over 10,000 surgeries in his 40-year career. And in 2008, he did his first nutrition plan, and then in 2017, he released his second book. He works with supplements. Okay. I'm not saying supplements are bad or good, but it's kind of one of those things too, like when you stop Jenny Craig or Nutrisystem, you have to be careful to make sure that you have modified your diet and you're able to stick to it. Chances are a lot of times what I've seen happen to people is once they stop like some of the supplements or something, they will at least put on a little tiny bit of weight. I'm not saying huge amounts. Like if you lost 50 pounds, you know, depending on the person, you may gain 5 pounds back. But you could gain all 50 depending on who you are and how you changed and altered your diet and things while you were taking the supplements. So some of his supplements are the Total Restore, which helps to combat leaky gut. And just to give you an idea, 1 bottle of these pills, which lasts for 30 days, is about $70. 3, which is a 90-day supply, is about $192. And 6 bottles for 180 days or 6 months is $17. And this particular thing, the Total Restore, helps with those feelings of bloating, some digestive tract issues that you might have, or digestive problems with some gas, fatigue, things like that. And it also is supposed to help with junk food cravings. And you take, let's see, it says 3 capsules a day with 8 ounces of water. Okay. BioComplete 3 is a complete gut health. Okay, that's how they describe it. And this runs about the same prices as the Total Restore does. Then there's Violet Reds, which is supposed to be a natural fat burner, you know, to help burn off the extra fat that you have. And the 1 bottle is they actually all run about the same price, where it's 70, 180 to 200 for 3 bottles, and then the 6 bottles are 320 to 380. Okay. Energy Renew is a body energizer. It helps motivate you, give you some extra energy and things like that. And what this actually is a powder mix that you put 1 scoop in 10 ounces of water daily. And a jar of that is $75. 3 jars is $200. So you have extra energy to help you keep moving and all that good stuff. Then Pro Plant Complete Shake. So obviously it's a shake, so it's a mix. It's a protein drink. You get 1 scoop per day and 8 to 12 ounces of water, or you can use something like coconut milk, and you just, you know, drink that either in the morning or throughout the day or whatnot to just give you that extra protein that you might need. And then there's the Prebio Thrive, which creates probiotic friendly environment, helps good bacteria. So it's kind of like a probiotic, basically. It has some fiber in it, so it doesn't completely dissolve. It's a drink. You take 8 ounces every morning, and you can also put it in other liquids, and you can make it into a smoothie to drink. So it's got a little bit more substance to it. Some of these things you can on this one and on Dr. Kellyanne, you can get some of these products on Amazon, but if you get them on Amazon or someplace other than their website, they have a money back guarantee with their website, but if you go on someplace else to get it, you don't get the money back guarantee if you're not happy with it. So Dr. Kellyanne, just to let you know, she is not a medical doctor. Okay, not to degrade or anything what she is. She is a doctor. She has a doctorate degree. She is a board certified naturopathic physician, which is basic, and she's also a certified nutrition consultant. Okay, so she knows nutrition. The naturopathic is alternative medicine. It's a pseudoscientific practice, which basically they believe in doing things naturally. You know, not doing non-invasive things, promote self-healing, things like that. A naturalist. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And her claim to dieting is a bone diet. And basically it's a bone broth. And it's a little, I guess it's not too horrible. It's a little expensive. You get 2 boxes, which each box only contains 7 packets for $60. 4 boxes is about 120 and 6 is 180. Okay, and I guess you can get it flavored and it just costs a little bit extra per thing. Okay, and the bone broth is protein, nutrients, and it helps with hunger cravings. So I've heard this advertised a couple of different ways. It offers some nutritional thing. I've not tried it, but like with all of these, there are people that have had success with these. Okay. Then there's lemon sips, which is a refreshing, revitalizing, hydration, detoxifying, flushes out toxins thing. So basically it's a drink that you can drink all day if you wanted to, not just simply in the morning, and you can just sip, like it says, lemon sips. You just sip on it during the day and it just keeps your energy up and just helps clean your system out a little bit. She also has a cleanse and reset product to detoxify, which basically when you hear about detoxifying your system, basically it's you're taking something that's going to clean you out. Okay, so all the bad things that you've not eliminated from your body yet, like when you have a bowel movement, use the bathroom, it helps get all the extra residue and all that good stuff out of there. And you can do this in a 1 day or you can do a 3 day. This is not something you do every day or all month. It's just periodically, just to cleanse your system. Okay. Okay, so next. And actually someone that I work with said, "Oh, are you going to talk about the keto diet?" And I was like, I had totally forgotten about keto diets. Okay, so keto diets are, I'm sure a lot of people have heard of South Beach and Atkins and things. Those are types of keto diet. A true blue 100% keto diet is a high-fat diet. Okay, you kind of deprive yourself of carbohydrates, so there's no carbs in this diet, or exceptionally low carb. And it requires that you eat fewer than 20 to 50 grams of carbs per day. So like if you have just a medium banana, that's 27 carbs. So there's half of what is like the max allowed. It's also a high calorie diet. Okay. So 2,000 calories. I personally don't generally eat that much, or I try not to, because I know my metabolism's a little slower than that, but that's okay. But they give here's an example of one that I found. It's 165 grams of fat, 40 grams of carbs, and 75 grams of protein. So the thought is the low carb, the high fat allows your body to burn off fats, reducing your hunger and reduces sugar levels. Okay. Okay. Now there are some negatives with the true blue 100% keto diet. Okay. The high fat, no carb type diet. Some of the risk factors are because of all the fat, it's been known to increase the bad LDL cholesterol, the one that leads to heart disease. So that's kind of one of the, and I think that's why some of the modifications came to it just a little bit, is to help not raise that LDL, that bad cholesterol, too awful much. You can also suffer from nutrient deficiency because if, your main diet is like protein, and if you're not taking like a vitamin supplement, you're going to cheat yourself out of some vitamins and things, which also can lead to liver problems, kidney problems. You can have constipation. You can also get kind of fuzzy thinking and mood swings because of how restrictive it is. Okay. Let's see. And then another is intermittent fasting. Now with fasting, you want to be really, really, really careful because you don't want to fast an excessive amount of time. And what fasting is you go without food. However, you can have liquids, water, coffee, things that do not have calories. That's the important thing, and nothing solid. So that means I'm sure some people have heard of like a clear liquid diet and a full liquid diet. Well, with full liquids, you can have things like milk and ice cream and stuff. No, 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 no. When you're doing the intermittent fasting, that doesn't count. It's just things without calories. Okay. Some pros is it does support weight loss, and it helps with metabolic health. Normally people don't fast 12 to 40 hours. You don't want to do an excessive. Okay. Some cons though is it can cause some unnatural frustration because you start to feel hungry. So then you get moody because you're hungry. So if you want to do something like a fast, one of the things that I had kind of suggested to people, if they're really, 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 first of all, any diet, anything that we've talked about or I've mentioned so far, you should not do anything without consulting your healthcare provider first. Okay. Make sure that you're not doing like you would not, if your LDL, your bad cholesterol is already high, you're not going to want to do a keto diet. Okay. I'm sure your doctor or healthcare provider would frown on that. So you want to make sure that you keep your healthcare provider in the loop on especially some of these specialty diets with multiple supplements and things like that. You want to make sure they're not going to contraindicate any health problems you might have or medications that you're taking. Okay. So with the fasting, what I've suggested to people if they're really gung-ho and really insistent when talking about weight management is do like the 12-hour fast and do it at night. And people are like, well, that's cheating. And I'm like, well, yes and no. Okay, if you do say you're going to fast from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Well, how many of us are guilty at about 8 o'clock at night while we're sitting there watching a nice TV show with family, eating a little ice cream, having some popcorn, okay? Or if we get up early, eating that great big breakfast before we've started moving around and things. So if you do something like an 7p to 7a or 8p to 8a, yeah, yes, you're going to hopefully be sleeping during part of that. And that's okay. But you haven't like overstuffed yourself before you go to bed, and you've given yourself, depending what time you get up in the morning, a little time to wake up and move around and get everything moving before you eat food to hopefully possibly increase your metabolism. Okay. Intermittent fasting, there are some exceptions. Anyone with an eating disorder, children, anyone with severe underlying health conditions where even going 12 hours without eating could be bad, depending on what's wrong. In pregnancy, you don't want to be self-limiting when you're doing something like that. Okay. A few more Okay, so the gnome diet. Okay, so this one is psychology-based diet. Comprehensive, sorry, with food and exercise and mental health, focusing on changing your behavior. So really that actually sounds pretty awesome. You know, let's change our behavior. Let's get a good attitude. Let's eat the balanced diet and do the exercises. They also suggest doing food colors. Um, Back in the day, when I took home ec, one of the things they taught us when preparing a meal is to make it colorful so that it's appealing to people to want to sit down and eat. So they have a similar thing where you do, pardon me, green, yellows, reds, and orange, reds, excuse me, or slash oranges. And it's about an 8-month plan. Okay. And there is a cost though for this to be in part of it. Um, and to help with the weight loss and things like that. It has an extensive questionnaire. Because with all of these, I went on their websites and I went through and tried to kind of answer some of their questions. And I will say I'm still getting emails for most of them that I researched as far as, oh, do you want to join us now? Or and things like that. So be really careful about doing that. The gnome diet is very popular in the UK, or it was. Now, I will say that it has gotten some poor ratings, and the poor ratings came from the Better Business Bureau because there was difficulty canceling. Now, the one thing I could not find about this was exactly when that information was, as far as it being difficult to cancel and things like that. But and there's kind of limited guidance. So it's compared to some of the other ones like the Jenny Craig and the Nutrisystem and stuff like that. There's not as much supervision or support apparently. So you'd have to kind of look into it yourself. And I will say that they did, and I don't know the full meanings of it, but apparently they did have a lawsuit earlier this year. I don't know what exactly it was. It may have been over the cancellation problem. Really, honestly, not sure. But then here's some other ones. I mean, and this is not even all of them. Okay, so there's South Beach, which I kind of already touched on when I was talking about the keto diet, and which is, mostly carbs, or excuse me, mostly protein with avoiding most carbs. Okay, but it does include healthy carbs and things like that. So it's not as restrictive as the keto diet. And this was started actually about 2003, so it's not even 20 years old yet. Okay, then there's Herbalife. And I'll be honest, I did Herbalife a million years ago. And it just has very nutritional products and things that you incorporate with your diet and gives you multivitamins. And there's energy things you can, supplements you can take. And there's a powder drink that you drink and things like that. It works. I don't think this has been around as long as others. This has, the thing that is appealing to some people with It Works is you start your day off with a like fortified coffee. So if you're a coffee drinker and you like to drink coffee, and you can drink it more than once a day, or you can just drink it once a day. But it's got like extra fat burning things in it and some fiber and things like that. Plus, it does have other additional supplements and things that you can get, including like little gummy things to help with appetite suppression. Thrive. Now, I have a friend, she and her husband have been tremendously successful with Thrive. And what Thrive is 3 steps. And you do, trying to remember so I don't mess it up. There's a drink. You drink a drink every morning, and you can even put it like either in water, or you can make a little shake out of it with a little milk, low fat milk or something like that. And there's some vitamin or some pills that you take with it, if I'm remembering correctly. I could be wrong, which my friend will be kind of sad with me if I'm wrong. But anyways, and then there's a patch. And I did try this for a little while. The only problem I had was I reacted to the patch, which was kind of weird. I was like one out of 3,000 people react, and I was the one that did. But like I said, my friend and her husband, I mean, they have a combined weight loss of over 100 pounds. But I do know they've been doing it for a couple of years now, and they continue to do it. So, and it of course costs money. I want to say it's roughly $150, $200 a month, depending what you do. And of course, anything that you pay out, it works. Thrive, Jenny Craig, all those other ones. A lot of it depends on what you want to buy or what components of their program you want. Okay. Then there's a blood type diet, which researchers have looked at common foods that are best for certain blood types. Then there's vegan, and vegans is the total elimination of meat and animal products. This can be very positive. You know, there's plenty of people out there that are vegan, and this is the step above, outside of vegetarian. The vegetarians will eat like sometimes dairy and eggs and cheese. Some eat chicken. The vegan does not eat any of that. The only negative with this is that sometimes you have to have a supplement for sources of protein, or make sure you're eating things like tofu and things like that, which actually tofu is not that bad, you guys. Then there's the Mediterranean diet, which avoids a lot of meat, but not all. And it recommends doing things like cooking with oil instead of butter, and using maybe oil instead of salad dressing and other marinades. They prefer fish, hence Mediterranean, over chicken. Then there's the raw food diet, which of course is eating uncooked and unprocessed foods, which is great for those people who like things like sushi and things. But and they avoid things that have pasteurized, anything that's been pasteurized and things like that. And then, believe it or not, there's more. We're not going into any more. I think I may have overwhelmed you enough. So what? Okay, I've just introduced all these diet plans to you, some that you may be familiar with, some not so familiar. How can you be successful? What kind of lifestyle changes? Moderation, what now? Help. Okay. So let's look at some tips and just some thoughts for general dieting, weight loss, healthy weight management. Drink plenty of water. There's a couple of reasons. One, water actually does help you feel a little full. Just if you drink like a little glass of water before you eat, you tend to fill up just a tiny bit faster. Plus, water is a necessity. Okay, we need to stay hydrated. Now we're getting towards slightly cooler temperatures and things like that, so we may not be sweating quite as profusely as we do in the summer, dripping the sweat off us and the whole 9 yards. But we always want to stay hydrated. It keeps our system cleaned out, keeps us feeling better, and things like that. Eat breakfast every day. There's another doctor, I didn't write down her particular diet, but one of the things she talks about is the fact that no matter when you wake up or whenever your first meal of the day is, that's your breakfast. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bowl of cereal. There's people that work odd shifts. So the important thing, though, is that you make sure that you eat some breakfast, because what that does is it begins and stimulates our digestive system. Okay. Try to always eat around the same time. Keep the same pattern daily. So if you're a person that works 3 to 11, so you know that usually when you're at work, your dinner's at 6 o'clock at night, and you don't usually get to bed till a little later. Nights that you're off, try to stay as close to that as possible, because that's what your body's used to. Okay, depending how many. If you only work 1 day a week, then you want to go by what your non-working schedule is. Eat plenty of fruits and vegetables. Okay, keeps us healthy, keeps things going, keeps us stabilized. When you're choosing foods, look out for high fat, high carbs, high sodium. Look for those foods that are lower in saturated fats, that are lower in carbs and sodium, especially if you have any underlying health conditions. Okay, eat whole grains and lean foods. Okay, lean protein. So you want to eat the chicken, or the chicken without the skin. You want to make sure you peel off the fat. Powdered peanut butter, which when I first was someone had said, oh, there's powdered peanut butter. I was like, okay. And there actually is powdered peanut butter, and it's actually pretty tasty. And you can put it in other foods, like yogurt. Get some. Now, be careful with things too that are supposed to be really healthy. Read your labels because some things will have fat in it that you don't expect. And some yogurts are actually high in sugar and high in fat. So you want to be really careful. But anyways, powdered peanut butter is not as bad as it sounds. Some of the whole grains things, do things like oatmeal and popcorn without butter. I know that's so difficult, but actually once you get used to it, it tastes really good. Let's see what else. Oh, physical activity, at least 30 minutes daily, and it includes any type of exercise. So that means like going up and down the stairs and stuff like that. If you're not someone who right now exercises, try to do 15 minutes 3 times a week, and then either add an extra day or add some extra minutes. And slowly you can build yourself up where you're all of a sudden you discover that you're doing 30 minutes a day, or you're doing an hour 3 days a week. It's always the reason why they say to do it daily is because it keeps your metabolism going, keeps your body burning energy, or maintaining energy and burning calories. Okay. Moderation. That is one of the biggest tips I can give you. If you notice, I mean, we've got our nice healthy things over here. We got our veggies, which that looks really good. We have a really nice little salad here on a tortilla. We got all our good healthy stuff over here. The hot dogs probably aren't as healthy as some things that we should be eating. I'm not 100% sure. I think this is a latte, maybe, or an espresso. I don't know. It's kind of tasty. We have a birthday cake. Okay. Moderation. Somebody's having a special day and you want a little piece of cake. Moderation. Okay. Just a small piece of cake. It kills that craving you've been having. It satisfies it, makes you happy. You celebrated with somebody. You go on to the next day. Okay. Some additional recommendations. Okay. Do not crash diet. Okay. That's what's difficult with some of these diet plans and things is they try to get too much weight off too fast. Okay. And then when someone stops, they gain it all back. So don't crash diet. Monitor your calories. If you feel like you're having problems and you're not really losing any weight, or, monitor your calories. And you don't even have to 100% calorie count. Keep a dietary log of what you're eating and then look at it and be honest. If you take 3 candy kisses and you eat them, make sure you write them down. For the most part, if you do that, but if you're doing that like 4 times a day, you're going to be like, oh, maybe I need to cut some of those out. Maybe that's kind of hindering some of my weight loss. Okay. Start your day off with a glass of water. Starts getting us stimulated, even just water. That's something in your stomach. Granted, there's not a lot to break down or anything like that, but it still gets things going and it keeps us hydrated. Again, eat breakfast, don't skip it, and don't skip meals. Okay. Skipping meals, we lose energy. We need to eat, our 3 meals a day and eat maybe smaller meals and more frequently. You have to work out what's best for you. Eating a snack every so often, that's not a bad thing as long as it's a healthy snack. Okay. Healthy choices, healthy snacks, lots of fruits and vegetables, an apple, a banana, carrot sticks, celery, grapes, figs, prunes. Okay. Drink green tea. Believe it or not, people and I kind of snickered when I first saw this too. It helps people stay active because it has lots of antioxidants in it, which those are always good for us. Okay. It helps to prevent, excess storage of belly fat. So a cup in the morning or in the evening or throughout the day, green tea is a positive thing. Limit or avoid sugar, refined carbs, and highly processed foods. Okay, so let's get rid of the candies and the sodas and the syrups and things like that. If you look for things that are in lower sugar, um, one of my sons, and people kind of chuckle because if they saw my one son, he is not a small child at all, but his grandparents are both diabetic. Um, and they would eat sugar-free syrup. He got where he could not stand the taste of regular syrup. He always has to have sugar-free syrup. Fortunately, he doesn't avoid sugar in other areas, but that's okay. But avoid this soda and things like that. Let's see. Oh, broil, bake, or steam your food instead of frying it. And if you do that, then you can add some flowers. Oh, add some spices to enhance the flavor. Okay, they've got all kinds of things. There's Lowry salt, but they make it with, I think, without salt. And then there's like Mrs. Dash, because you do want to watch out for your sodium content. You don't want to all of a sudden have your legs swell up or something because you've got too much sodium. Lemon juice. Uh, when you're drinking drinks, add lemons or cucumbers or berries or something to your water. It'll add some flavor, and then you're staying hydrated and you're getting your water in. Slow down. Focus on what you're eating. So many people, and I mean, I'm guilty of it too, sit in front of the TV and eat dinner or eat lunch or eat something. And you're not paying attention to what you're eating. You just keep shoveling it in while you're watching whatever's on the TV. And before you know it, you've eaten a plate and you're like, well, I think I'm still hungry. Because when you eat fast, our stomach can't really digest it. And it just kind of just goes kind of, you just don't get that full feeling as fast. I'm sorry, I'm having difficulty with words for a second. But so slow down. Let your stomach enjoy the fact that you're putting food in it and let it get full faster. Let's see, get enough sleep. If we don't have enough sleep and enough energy, then it's going to affect our metabolism. It is recommended that for adults, we should have 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I know most of us probably don't get that, though I know some that do. But really, ideally, you want to get at least 7 to 8 hours. Without getting enough sleep, you can actually find yourself a little heavier. Get sun, and I say that as we're overcast right this moment, but get sun. Sunshine is just healthy, okay? It'll makes most people feel better and things like that. Exercise daily. Seek support and help. And that's where some of these these diet plans are kind of positive. Okay, they do assist us with support. Okay, keep your goals realistic. Remember, you have to modify. I have a brother-in-law that, excuse me. Trying to stay hydrated. Excuse me. I have a brother-in-law that had gastric bypass surgery, and he's had it more than once. I'm so sorry. If you're not willing to modify your diet or your lifestyle, even something like gastric bypass surgery is not going to be successful. He lost some weight, but got tired of trying. Excuse me. So then he gained it all back, plus a little bit. Okay. So, know your limitations. Keep your goals realistic. Don't say, oh, I'm going to lose 5 pounds every week. Not impossible. I will say that, especially at first, if you're someone who's been a little heavy and you go on a diet and you're cutting back and omitting a lot of things that are like high in sugar, you stop drinking soda, you put away the candy, you monitor how much pasta you're eating smaller sandwiches or whatever. Yes, you could, especially in the beginning, lose some weight kind of quickly. No, that will not necessarily, everyone's individual, and without meeting someone, I can't really say much, but everyone's individual and the diets can be modified for you to be successful. Again, realistic goals, consult your healthcare provider, especially if you have any comorbidities such as heart disease, diabetes, thyroid condition, almost anything. If you take any medication, make sure you talk with your healthcare provider or a dietitian. I love my dietitians when I've worked in clinical settings because they have that additional expertise because that's been their focus. They focus strictly on nutrition, on what the body needs and what people with various illnesses might need and stuff like that. So another suggested meal plan type thing, if you need it or want it, it's called myplate.gov, myplate.gov. And it gives suggestions on meal planning to assist you to eat healthy. Okay. If there's any questions, let me know. Let me go ahead and go on to the next page. If you have questions for me, feel free to reach out to me. There's my phone number and my email address. And then if you notice in the next line, it is if you're a STAR member, there's the phone number, and a CHIP member, the phone number. If you are not a member of Parkland Community Health Plan, you have questions, you're curious, or want to find somebody to reach out to, feel free to get on our website. This has been recorded or is being recorded and will be posted on the website for reference if you want to look back at it or anything like that. I do have multiple resources that I happen to use to get information on the diets and things like that. I don't know. Thank you all for taking the time to view this webinar. And again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen for just one moment. There we go. So again, thank you very much. Good luck with healthy eating. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And even with the holidays coming up, you can still enjoy those meals. Just moderation, and be sure to maybe take an extra walk. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.